Hi, welcome to the channel. My name's Stephen and this is Project Phoenix. I've started stripping out some of the interior on the car and that will be in a later video. As you can see, I'm not having any seats door cards, but today's video we're going to be doing a compression check on the engine so that we can further strip out the car. So let's get on with a compression check. Right, so before we start, what I want to do is I want to stop fuel coming into the engine. I want to stop a spark. So here's the little fuse box in the engine bay. Read on it, it says the 30 amp one is fuel injection. So that's that fuse removed, so it makes that safe. We'll just cover that up just to make sure nothing gets damaged in there. Next thing I want to do is I want to isolate the coils. Now the coils is just here, and what I need to do is unplug it. I'll tell you what I am going to do. I'm going to unplug the one next to it just to make my life easy to get this one out. There we are, that's them out and done. So now we've isolated the spark and the fuel, so when we crank this over we're not going to get any fuel into the engine, nothing else. Next thing I want to do is remove the HT leads, get them out of the way, and remember which way they come off, just so that when I put them back on I get the firing order right. There we are. And I don't believe number 4 will be long enough. Okay, so let's get the spark plugs out. Right, spark plugs out. So now what we need to do is put the compression test on. It doesn't need this adapter on it, that's for a different size spark plug. We'll put the, start it off, we'll go number 1, 2, 3 and 4. We'll do that dry. Then what I will do is put a little bit of squirt of oil down there and do the same just to see what pressure difference that makes. So let's get started with the compression testing. Right, on this next one I've done 4 dry now, so what I'm going to do is just put a little squirt of oil down in the bore, and that way we can see what the reading is with a bit when it's wet. So not a lot, very little at all. We'll pop that down and we'll do that for all 4 again and see what happens. Right, so that's all the compression testing done, dry and wet. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to give it a couple of cranks with nothing in, all the spark plugs are out, just to make sure if there's any excess oil in there. I didn't put a lot in there, and it's not going to be too detrimental to the engine, but just to be sure, I'm just going to crank it with nothing in there. I'm going to cover the top with rags, put the ratchet on it just to cover it up, and then just crank it a couple of times just to catch any residue oil in there. A bit there, but not a lot. I think the little bit that I caught was actually probably the stuff that I spilt in here. Right, time to reassemble. Whack the coil back on. I'll remove this other one just because it was making my life easy for connecting this, disconnecting this one. 30 amp fuse back in. So that's it, all back together, plugs in, coils connected back up, fuse box is going to start. I'm just going to run it up. I'm not going to put that on video. I've got the exhaust detached just before the cat here, so you can imagine what it sounds like. You don't need to hear that on video. Okay, let me do that and then I'll get back to you. I'm really happy with those results. Looks like that's a good compression test. I'm going to pop the figures for the engine and the results I got down in the comments below if you want to have a quick look. I wanted to do an oil pressure test at the same time, but with the water pump damage and it's leaking coolant, I didn't really want to get this engine up to working temperature just in case it had a bit of a catastrophic failure and I blow the engine up just trying to do an oil pressure test. What I'll do is I'll get the measurements of the oil pump when we strip the engine down and see if it's within tolerance. If it's not, then it'll be a new oil pump. Plus hopefully I should be able to see if there's any problems when I strip the engine down. So fingers crossed there won't be. So hopefully you enjoyed that video, a quick video about the compression test. Don't forget to join me next time as we start stripping out the interior. Catch you later.